So thank you very much for coming. I am Jeff Duvall. I am run by the Young Writers Project. And so we have a really dynamic and exciting program today that's being recorded by all sorts of things, and maybe even this, if I can figure out how to turn the power on. And we're celebrating, really, the best of last year's submissions. And we are excited to announce that Anthology 6 is available back there. If your name is in this, you don't have to pay anything. If your name is not in this, you can pay us $10. And it just came off the presses on Friday afternoon, and we're very exciting. And this came from about 12,000 submissions, and we chose 75, and about 3,000 pieces of art, and we chose 25. So it's an amazing honor, really, to have filtered through all that and be chosen. So congratulations to you guys. Now, a couple of other announcements. We're having a celebration of writing, as we do every year, on November 8th in Montpelier at Vermont College of Fine Arts. It is a ball, and we have all sorts of people doing workshops, workshops all day of all different sizes and shapes, and we'll have some surprise announcements on youngwritersproject.org soon. So we encourage you to save that date. I also want to acknowledge two folks in the back. Susan Reed and Doug DeMeo. Can you tell which is which? Okay, Susan is responsible for this. This is just one of the things that she does. We publish kids' work every week in all sorts of places, 19 newspapers. Our wonderful media sponsor of this event, Vermont Public Radio, also on VT Digger, and a site called cowbird.com. And Noah Urbitel had her story featured on Cowbird, which has 40,000 storytellers from around the world, and her story was picked to be highlighted that day, which is an amazing accomplishment. And it was a great story. So we try to get kids' audience. We publish about 1,000 kids a year. And it's pretty amazing to us. It's why we do what we do. We have two fabulous people here who are going to introduce each writer and make a little comment. And first is Reuben Jackson, who many of you may know from VPR, his dulcet voice on Friday Night Jazz.
I have to pay him now.
Okay, here.
No.
Okay, it's an amazing show. This man knows more about jazz than any human alive. It's amazing. He's also a fabulous poet, has been mentoring kids on youngwritersproject.org since the early Jurassic period.
A long time.
Yeah. And it's just a fabulous...
Salmon was governor.
Yeah. He's just a fabulous man. And Bridget Iverson, who has been connected to the Young Writers Project for...
How many years now?
9 years.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, she was one of the earliest rabble-rousers on youngwritersproject.org, helped build the community. She's an amazing writer. She has a very subdued hair color today.
Uncharacteristically so.
Uncharacteristically so. And also attends UVM, where she's studying brains, right? You still doing that? Okay. You just never know what a writer is interested in. So they're going to take it away. And thank you so much for coming and honoring these kids. So without further ado, let me get this thing started. Go for it.
So our first writer today is Miss Erin Lashway. She's a junior at Mount Mansfield Union High in Jericho. She's one of YWP's most creative and prolific writers, and she's a generous mentor to the other writers. She's also the featured writer of the month in the inaugural issue of YWP's new digital magazine, The Voice, which is launching this week, and you can look that up on youngwritersproject.org. This is Erin with In My Mother's Clothes.
It's as if We are all playing dress up again. The shoes don't fit quite right, and the jacket sleeves are much too long. We all look like children who have gotten into their mother's makeup. Distorted circus clowns. And the smeared lipstick bruises our cheeks, and the mascara smudges like black tears. Our eyes water when we touch the brush too close to them, and suddenly we are crying ink. Resting in the classroom, discussing college exams and prep courses, talking about research essays and study guides and misuse of words and plagiarism. And that is how I feel now, a child playing dress up. Little one, so young and naive. Why do you want to grow old? For they say the old shrivel and die and live only to produce young. Little one, so bleak and sad, because you're not big or strong like your dad. Wipe your eyes and dry your tears for you. So innocent. Still have years. And I, well, I lean on my cane, and I creak when I walk. My voice is hoarse and hard to talk, and when I whisper, they never hear, for they have all died, the ones I hold dear. Flashback to the present, I'm a student again, twisting around my notebooks and folders, so eager to learn. Yet, this is the price. I've lost 1,000 million lives. Lives that should have been spent dreaming up stories and drinking the sun through bright lips of cherry and cloaked in shadows, becoming the night. Resting softly, sleeping tight. Pushed to near exhaustion to achieve, this choice we make is seen as a goal at which to strive. Yet we are making a decision to postpone being alive. Now I lean on this walker, and I shuffle to and fro. A beeping monitor follows where I go. And my mascara is smudged, for my eyesight is going, and I stay inside when the wind is blowing. My bones rattle when it's cold. My muscles ache when it snows. My makeup smeared, my outfit not right. I feel like a child in her mother's clothes.
You know, that was only the first writer, and already I can feel my eyes starting to tear up.
Yeah, I was going to say, I left that box of Kleenex at home. Right. I just, thinking of, sometimes we whether one reads poetry or writes poetry or not, we think that profundity has to come from these huge 99 clause laden sentences. But you can have a phrase like drinking the sun. And for me, it just makes me rethink everything, and it reminds me what it means to be alive. And I think, what you'll hear, and my mother used to always say, Reuben, men are good at stating the obvious. But so the obvious thing I'm going to state here is that the possibility inherent within language, and that there are endless possibilities. And I think this is one great example of that. So I wish you should have run that, like that, Mount Mansfield-sized box of Kleenex today.
I know, right? Got some tissues in my bag. We can figure it out.
I'm just going to let it go. Okay, our next reader is Alexandra Contreras Montesano. She's in 8th grade at Edmonds Middle School. She's a longtime writer on Young Writers Project and has done some fascinating video interviews with her little sister, Scarlett. Some of her best writing has been inspired by family, and this poem, Remember the Sky, is one of them.
You remember the sky, were my grandpa's last words. You remember the world, its twirls and its whirls. I am forever present, he promised. Just look to the sky. And as the sky shone garnet, my grandpa died. When the moon rose high over our funeral night, the clouds wept with us, as black as his eyes. Our walk home was short, but the longest one too. As we approached our house, the lawn wept with dew. I fell onto the grass, not caring that I was wet. Before I closed my eyes, I looked at the sky, and its colors were bright. Remember the sky, for that is the first light.
I think we need a moment of silence for that one. That was beautiful. All right, moment of silence over. Next up is Zoe Reel. She's a 17-year-old homeschooler from Pulteney who wrote her first novel in a green composition notebook when she was 8, and she was hooked from then on. She now writes what she calls surreal, fantastically vague poetry, and she can usually be found wherever there is music playing.
I am sculpting a woman from Nile clay and a man of blood from a pine. Using wool as the filling, I begin to start drilling the holes in their hearts for their minds. Introduced in a garden of tulips in bloom, I watch them with prideful laughter. Rather new to the world, they flinched when I curled a wind round them to start a new chapter. 2 decades later, they lived in the mountains with children I'd made out of sand. But unrest had arisen out of fear for those children when I mentioned their suboptimal lifespan. Soon, they packed up their offspring and knocked on my door and showed me the flaw in their spines. They then wept with despair when I refused to repair a brood so vaguely defined. When they ripped out their hearts and their lungs, all of earth, and crushed each atom in turn, I was forced to reflect on how to direct a spark to abandon an urn. I am sculpting a woman of garden earth now, and a man from wind grown breathless. I am starting afresh because the facts of their flesh made my children entirely too restless.
And that was Zoe with The Golem Maker.
You know, I want to say briefly before I introduce the next writer, I am musically consumed, as I sometimes say on the radio, and I'm going to use a musical analogy to kind of talk about that last poem. It's a definition Quincy Jones offered for jazz. He said jazz was soul and science. And I think, you know, what you heard in this last piece is obviously the soul, the specific experiences of a writer or coming through a writer. But the science, it's really hard, as some of you may know, to really come up with, this is no pun intended, a sublime rhyme that just kind of floats by and doesn't kind of hammer you to say, I am using rhyme now. And I love the way your rhyme just kind of walks through the room and isn't trying to show off like, I went to the University of Rhyme. It just speaks for it. It's gorgeous, and I wish I could do it.
Yeah, that poem has a natural elegance to it.
I think I'll just say that for the rest of the afternoon. I wish I could have done it. Our next reader is Jeremy Broats, who's a sophomore at Burlington High School. Go see horses. He enjoys singing, theater, writing, biking, laughing, eating, and making terrible puns. We might be related, Jeremy. Please welcome Jeremy Broats.
I discovered a new color. I didn't want to. I didn't want any of it to happen. It's the color of sorrow, of regret, of the ocean when the sun is reflecting into your eyes. It's the color of wanting, a variant of the shade of death. The color you see when you squeeze your eyes shut and when you look out at the world through your tears. The deep hue of the scent of a rainstorm, tinted with disappointment. If you hug a loved one who will never return, your heart will be full of the color of missing.
I don't know about you, Ruben,
The
but
color of missing.
listening to that, it was just like there was this
Go,
watercolor
boy.
made out of all my saddest memories. It was beautiful.
The color of missing. That's just a great, oh man. Okay.
I'd like to introduce our next writer who is unfortunately not able to join us today. So instead, Ruben is going to be reading her poem. Khalsan Dolkar is a senior at Burlington High School. She calls herself an amateur writer, which I disagree with, but she says, "I've made poems since I was in 4th grade, discovered my passion for the spoken word and slam in 9th grade, and plan on forging a career out of the language arts field. Writing has always been a fiercely emotional thing for me, and now I want to impact people in a positive and dynamic way with my words." So with 17 years old, please take it away, Ruben.
All right, I was 17 once, I think. Calvin Coolidge was president. I just want to say something briefly about Khalsan. I had the great honor of, I don't want to say I was her teacher, because those of you who are educators know that education is like a tennis match. If you're lucky, it's back and forth. She was someone who is wise beyond her years, if I may use that cliche, and a student a human being I will always hold dear. She helped take care of me during a bittersweet teaching experience at Burlington High School. I love her to death, as we say in my hometown, Washington, D.C., and I wanted her work to be heard, even though she is not here, in the flesh, as we say. 17 years old. "I've never been to the fair," she says, and at her words, my heart does that painful twist it's been known to do during moments of inconceivable sorrow. 17 years old, and she's excited for the cotton candy, the stuffed prizes, and the memories that will be made with someone who loves her more than she'd believe. Finally, she must be thinking, one hand is covering my mouth to muffle the sounds of my crying. Finally, somebody cares about me. It's moments like these when I get glimpses of the childhood she never had that bring me crashing down, not unlike the hands of the jailer who forgot he was a father, and not unlike her body hitting the kitchen floor, her legs curling forward to keep her ribs from snapping into two. "I've never been to the fair," she says. "If only you had told me sooner."
You know what we were saying about those tissues.
Yeah. Am I next? I forget. I guess, yeah, okay.
So I'd like to introduce now Taylor Gardner. He's a senior at Matt Mansfield Union High School. He's a track and field athlete and an active participant in school choirs, student government, and community service. And of course, he loves to write. He's currently looking at colleges, and he's hoping to major in global studies and international relations. This piece, "Give Me Your Hand," was written in response to recent violence in Ukraine. Taylor?
All right.
Give me your hand, my mother. Tonight, those roses in the window become a dozen minus one. When the smoke chokes off the light, remember these words I speak. Give me your hand, my father. You raised me well and without hindrance. You and I toiled together to be members of this family. Now the transmissions have been silenced, and I must rise to the occasion once more. Give me your hand, my sister. Do not fear the big bad men at the door. Stay calm and be strong. Remember the songs I sang to help you sleep at night, and find solace that I will protect you. Give me your hand, my brother. Our games of tag have come to an end, but remember to play and to teach some other child. Keep your sister safe, no matter what. Love is a bond stronger than might. I am not a man of war, please remember this. I want peace like others before. But like you once told me, Father, things will not be handed to me on a silver spoon. So now I listen to your words. Remember my face. I will come home again.
My goodness, this is what I love about writing sometimes, the ability to take an experience, something that you hear about on NPR or see on CNN, and turn it into something so emotional, to put yourself into somebody else's shoes and figure out what they're actually doing as another human being and not as a statistic or as a little piece of international relations or policy. That was beautiful, thank you.
Yeah, I was thinking about, I think it's Ezra Pound who said, poetry is news that stays news. And you know, I think one of the terrible stereotypes about poetry is that it is or should be limited to a particular, you know, thematic sphere. And again, thinking about that idea of possibilities, you know, how do you make the current relevant? You know, how that wonderful meshing of the personal and the universal. And I just think that's a wonderful example of it. And it's hard as heck, as I'm sure many of you know, to, you can be so emotionally and understandably connected to something that's rocking our world, and it can hijack your work. But to have that wonderful balance between, you know, that which is happening and the merging with the language is just, you know, boy. I used to do this thing in school. I'd walk behind kids jokingly and stick my finger in their back like a gun and say, I'm stealing those lines. And I may be jacking a lot of you all today. Wonderful, wonderful work. Next, we have Erin Bundock, who's a junior at Champlain Valley Union High School. She's a talented writer, artist, and photographer who shared her work with Young Writers Project since she was in middle school. The piece she's reading today, Champagne, was written in response to a prompt from YWP's annual Vermont Writes Day. The prompt was to describe a place where you feel most alive.
I find myself looking through the rose filter from my Minolta film camera. He's clutching a piece of glass from a cracked champagne bottle. A fissure in its misted surface moors itself to his thumb, which is coarse, but fits perfectly when we hold hands. His hair catches fire in my lens, his eyes stark in contrast to the red hue I have placed here. He skims the glass onto the crests of the white caps as they roll and break at his toes. A fissure runs in his thumbprint, and he tends to sink, just as I tend to stay with the sand below waves. But when we are both above the crests with a rose-colored lens, I call those the alive sort of days.
It's like you took a moment and you just froze it inside of that piece of glass. And you kept it right there. You brought it back out into a context and then brought it back back to the glass. It was so beautiful.
Man. The alive sort of days.
I know, right? Gonna steal that line?
It's Velcroed, Velcroed right there.
Just tuck it into your pocket. I'd like to introduce Abby Dodgson. He's in 7th grade at Mater Christi School. He's devoted many hours to writing and to Young Writers Project, but he tells us that a new pursuit is starting to compete for his attention. Abby says that running is now a big part of his life. It's a passion, and that meets are really exciting and fun. This is Abby with his poem, Born from the Mountains.
Born from the monsoon rain that falls like a wall of water, onto the dirty streets, washing the roadsides, cleansing them until they look brand new. I'm from the juice of coconuts that taste so sweet. I'm from the lily pads that float on the water. I'm from spices and flavors that fill this land with their magnificent smells. I'm from the hot, sweet-tasting tea. I am from the dark brown earth in the tea leaf beds. I am from the highest mountains, where the oxygen is thin and harder to breathe.
Nice.
You know, I'm going to steal that as a prompt for one of my writing classes. Talk about where you're from and root it so securely. Avi, maybe I'll talk to you later if I could use your poem as an example.
Jeff, are the Guinness Book of World Records people here today? 'Cause this is the third year in a row he's made me cry on stage. And I think there's some plaque I should get, the Kleenex plaque or something. Oh, man. You're heartbreaker, son, in the best way. Thank you. Next is Tyler Harris. Tyler's a senior at Burlington High School. She describes herself as a writer, artist, music lover, and general creative type. She was inspired to write this piece, I Know You Are Sad, while attending the Champlain College Young Writers Conference in May. Tyler Harris.
And I know you are sad because of the way you smoke cigarettes with the notion that they will kill you. Not immediately, but sometime down the line you will suffer from the tendrils unfurling from your frowning lips. I see you drink away your pain, drowning it in Jack and cheap vodka. You enjoy your hangovers because it's a kind of self-harm that's allowed. And sometimes I watch you as you cross the street without even looking. And I know you wish that a car would come speeding and solve all your problems with no questions asked. You hurt yourself in a time bomb sort of way. You want to die, but not just yet. And so you put it off, teasing death, because it makes you feel alive to know it's just around the corner. I can see the way the corners of your lips turn up when the smoke burns your lungs. You smoke because it hurts, and you drink because it hurts, and nobody questions it the way they ask, what happened to your arms? And I know you are sad because you live your life as if you're hoping it will end not today, but tomorrow.
What a contrast. We just had two poems that had the line makes you feel most alive. Champagne and then And I Know You Are Sad. And they're so different and so vivid in their own way. Next, I'd like to introduce Merrick Mendenhall. Merrick is a junior at Burlington High School. She says her poem, Life Behind Sunglasses, is based on the idea that the world changes when you put on a pair of sunglasses. She says when the idea first came to her, she wrote it down quickly in her phone and forgot about it until a few weeks later when she came across it again and decided to bring it to life in a poem. Life Behind Sunglasses.
Nice.
Life is better behind sunglasses. Everything dulls into a soft gray. The sun becomes a white orb floating in the sky. Not an overwhelming presence dominating your vision. Life is better behind sunglasses. The faces around you aren't as frightening. The chemically white grins no longer blind you. And you can finally see their eyes. Better yet, they can't see yours. Life is better behind sunglasses. The world is your oyster, yours to explore with your eyes. No one can see where your gaze lingers. You can stare a person in the eye and they never have to know. You can pretend to be asleep on long car rides and instead watch as the world flies by your car window. Life is better behind sunglasses.
Nice.
I have a friend who calls sunglasses her movie screen because behind sunglasses she can feel like she's watching the world and she's got a little bit of a screen between her and the rest of what's going on. And when she wants to feel like she's really part of the world and feels like she can handle being overwhelmed by it, she can take the sunglasses off. But otherwise, there's just that little bit of detachment that she really loves.
Yeah, I love the range of images and the really successful use of repetition here. Just life is better behind sunglasses, and then what you described after, that's wonderful. I used to try to tell my mother life was better behind sunglasses. And she said, boy, you better take those sunglasses off. Okay. Oh, Dr. Phil, where are you? Okay. Our next reader is Finian Abi. Finian's a 7th grader at Browns River Middle School, pardon me. He likes hanging out with friends and creating games, corporations, and stories. Today, he's reading a piece, Dog's Perspective, but ironically, he says he's really a cat person.
Dear Department for Unappreciated Canines, allow me to introduce myself. I'm Cookie Sugar Drops, or just Cookie for short. I mean, I'm a boy dog. Could they at least do Rusty? Yes, I'm the Jackson family dog, over on Willow Street. They think life as a dog is easy, but it's not. You know what it's really like. First, let's start with the living conditions. I live in a nice little house, and I roam around protecting it, except for the cellar where I can't go. That's not enough. I want to live out in a doghouse, but whenever someone brings that up, my owner always says, I'll get around to it later. It's so annoying. Also, there's the food. I mean, look at it. It's brown and crusty and smelly and unappetizing. Ugh, makes me want to gag. They grimace when they look at it. Why do my owners think I like it any better? See these pointy teeth? Yes, those. They're called canines. They're for meat. I'm not a cow. I want to eat cows. Plus, there's a cat. Yes, always a cat. I'm cliche, but I just don't like the way he looks at me. Please help me. Cookie Sugar Drops Jackson.
The complaints department, being a dog. I would love to read the reply that Cookie gets. Ava Kendrick is our next writer. She's a sophomore at Harwood Union High School. She spends most of her time drawing and writing, but she asks us to please not tell her math teacher that. She often takes inspiration from the world around her, and she'd like to say thanks to the people at YWP for reading her strongly opinionated rants and poems for the past few years. This is Ava with wishes.
Actually, it's pronounced Ava, but... Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Scattered television posters, stuffed animals too dear to part with, a large mirror, a small glass panda. Miscellaneous collections of pencils, piles of blank paper, art pens, new sketchbook, piles of trumpet sheet music. Cool new aviators, perfume, a Christmas gift I'll never use, calendars set to the wrong month, a plethora of old books. A Canon camera, boxes from kindergarten, scattered sketches, overflowing homework binders. I look around and I see these things, and I just have to wonder, when did this happen? When did I stop being that little girl? A little girl in love with fairies, wearing dresses, never touching jeans, running barefoot through the lawn, enjoying the sunshine. When did I decide to forget that me? When did I move on? When did I think I needed to be older? Who told me growing up was fun? Waiting on a reply from a boyfriend in between math problems, feeling awkward in my skin, who said high school was great? I wish I could return to simpler times, back when boys had cooties and my hair was long and sun-bleached, back before I needed to think about my future. I wish I was the little girl who only wished to be me.
Don't I know it? Does that get better with time, Ruben?
I was thinking about that long hair part when you said that. a tinge of heartbreak. I got to say, though, it's a poem, another musician quote. A violinist named Stefan Grappelli once said, You must start well and you must end well. And think about the first line of this poem, scattered television posters. And then we end with, I wish I was the little girl who only wished to be me. So between there and there, look at what happens. You know, this really interesting weave of imagery and emotional, moving ins and outs. It's a wonderful, poems are really complex things, as again, some of you know. And I was thinking too about William Carlos Williams, who said that poems were like, they were like machines or engines and those little parts. And so I harp on the little details a lot, but I think it's, like fall, the details, like the little details, getting us from here to there. Beautiful, just beautiful,
It's
beautiful.
the little details that fit together and make a machine that's larger than all of its individual parts.
Yeah, boy, incredible. Okay, next, said the emotional co-host, is Matthew Blow, who's a senior at Mount Mansfield Union High School. He's been a constant presence on Young Writers Project through his high school years, writing poetry and supporting other writers. In his free time, Matt says he enjoys writing and playing tennis. He's going to read A Guide for My Sisters.
Or when I close my eyes, the world loosens on its hinges and begins to spin back and forth. I can feel it smile. It, too, is trying to find a place to fit in. We are all trying to find our place. Do not think it odd if you and a good friend grow apart. Their place has shifted, and it is no longer next to you. Do not be angry. Thank them for what they have done and being in your life, but ask them that when they leave, to leave the door open so that another may enter. When your significant other leaves you, or someone you wish was leaves you, do not fall into despair. Cherish their memory. Keep it, if you feel so inclined, in your pocket, and carry what you have learned along with you. But do not take the love back from the pocket. If you live in the past, you'll miss the present, and the present stops for no one. When you find that you are no longer who you used to be, do not lament your loss. Welcome your new self. Tell her that you are happy she is here, that you hope to become best friends. And when she leaves, thank her for the years you have spent together, even if the memories are sour. Thank her for spending them with you. And when you think you've found a place, do not tell yourself you will be here forever. You are a traveler who is setting up a temporary home. Slowly but surely, make that home more permanent. If you experience hardships, do not leave. Tough them through. Lean on the friends you have and allow them to lean on you. Do not anger when one of them falls. Help each other up. But if you see a new skyline, wait. If it looks better, wait. Look carefully at yourself before you make the first step to somewhere new. But once you do, don't let your worries delay you. You are finding yourself. Not that she was ever really hiding. She just needed to be told to reveal herself.
That was lovely in its own right, and as a companion piece to Ava's One After the Other, it just makes my heart swell. You ever thought about reading that poem, for your high school graduation or something like that? I feel like a lot of people could use that advice.
Yeah, I was thinking, people often ask, where did you first get the bug? Where did the language thing present itself to me? I always say the first rappers and poets I heard were the old AM DJs, which some of you remember. I see some fellow travelers, AARP card rocking people here. And the others were ministers. These were people who could, like the old AM DJs, had these rapid tongue things. They say, oh, Sam Cooke and the Temptations at the top of the hour, blah, 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 blah. There's that. And then ministers who would take words and text and kind of turn them this way and this way. And people would go, the longer I've been in Vermont, the more Southern I've become and rediscover my Southernness, which probably means a lot of things. But people would hear ministers or poets and they would say, did you go hear so-and-so? He or she said this thing, and they'd repeat the words over and over again, just a phrase that would really stick out. And so if you were saying, I grew up in Augusta, well, I was born in Augusta, Georgia, they'd say, they'd come up to you and maybe say, aren't you that, Matthew Blow, you're that boy that said, do not take love back from the pocket. Boy, I like that. But it's a beautiful line. And I just think, again, what is possible with language? Do not take love back from the pocket. As people say here, I know, right?
I'm going to introduce Noah Urbitel. She's a senior at Champlain Valley Union High. She says she's been a voracious reader and a writer for as long as she can remember. Young Writers Project sent the poem that she's going to read today, Sweet Solitude, to the national storytelling website, cowbird.com, over the summer, and it was selected as one of the site's daily stories, which means that it got top billing and it drew the attention of almost 3,000 readers.
I never understood the sad eyes of the shy ones who clung to their mother's knees. But now innocence is dead, and I'm a walking shell. I like it. The feeling of black silk slipping between my fingers as I run my hands down racks of expensive dresses, or the cracked pavement under my bare feet as I walk home in the snow, because no one is standing next to me telling me I shouldn't. I like to touch things. And the shadows in my brain slink back for a few moments when I don't have to be intelligent for them, or organized for her, or apathetic for him. My voice is small and fragile, beating once a minute, and the shopkeepers say, "Sorry, sweetie, I couldn't quite catch that." I like to test people's hearing. So go, you wayward wanderers. Go to your smoke-filled rooms and bright parties. Let me breathe in peace. Go, everyone. Go be with everyone else. I like to be alone.
The Introvert's Manifesto. And it's so true. As much as you might like the people that you're with, your family and your friends and everybody around you, you kind of have to perform. Like, for some people, it's almost like you're on one of these stages all the time. And when you're on your own and doing your own thing, it's almost like you've forgotten what your own thing is until you get the chance to actually do it.
Okay, midlife reference number 19 for this. There's an old film called The Sound of Music, which I'm not going to sing anything from it, so you don't have to worry about that. But I think, poetry is like, okay, it's for the ear. As a poet named Michael Harper wrote a book called Healing Song for the Inner Ear. But, the sound of music, this is a form that really delves into the musical possibilities within speech. And, because I had friends, for example, in D.C. who could make what my mother called bad language or profane language sound like, Verdi or something, which I won't do today. But I was listening to just the sound of some of these lines. I just want to read one. I like to touch things, and the shadows in my brain sink back for a few moments when I don't have to be intelligent for them or organized for her or apathetic for him. Okay, that's obviously describing something, but just listen to it. Let it roll around in your brain like, I don't know, like good Chablis or something. It's beautiful. It's such a great combo platter. I mean, I'm a poetry enabler, admittedly, but it's just a great meshing of the description and the sound. We take it for granted sometimes, but I think what we've heard today just, it's a reminder for all of us that it's the sound of music. Good stuff.
Poetry and music are so closely interrelated, which leads us actually to our next poet/singer.
That's right. Last but not least, as I said, it's all about the music. Olivia Pinter, and is a freshman at Emma Willard School, has been a writer with Young Writers Project since she was in about 2nd grade. Along with poetry, Olivia also writes her own lyrics and music, as she did for this piece, which is entitled Dawn. Olivia has recently published an ebook of her lyrics and poetry to support a Ugandan orphan. The book is called When All That's Left Is Light. So we'll close our afternoon with Olivia singing Dawn.
When dawn moved in, we watched the shade knelt before the lion's cage, felt the rain from the willow tree. You helped my soul find me. Some things are meant to live unknown, or to find you when you're most alone. The color birds fly around the well. There's a truth I've learned so well. There is a truth I've learned is joy, and I found it in your words and voice. I found it while shaking rain from trees. In a beautiful place it set me free. As dawn moved in, we watched the moon as it flew away like a big balloon. And if we all have to float off too, know that he who let me fly was you.
Thoughts after that one?
Olivia Pinter, grade 9 and already better than most of what we hear on the radio, except for your show, of course, Ruben.
I'm speechless.
Wow. So I want to thank each of you individually for coming up and taking this creative risk. Can we give them all another hand? So who doesn't believe that YWP is a tightly run organization? Here we have 45 minutes, and we've done it in 45 minutes and 32 seconds. Whoa! Well oiled, I'd say. Anyway, this has been amazing. I think Olivia showed how the musicality of words fits so closely with what we do. I want to thank Bridget and Ruben. Any final thoughts?
Just thank you for having us up here.
Yes, yeah,
really.
thank you.
So give them a hand. Rick Kasanik just snuck in over there. He's the person who makes the Burlington Book Festival possible, so give him a hand. Also, the folks here with the cameras, RETN, they do an amazing job, and they're going to share the videos and the sound with us, so we'll have it in all sorts of places. We're going to be posting a couple of quick versions of what you did today on our new digital magazine, which comes out next Tuesday. It is cool, if I don't say so myself. But that's an adult word, but you know, it's okay. It is really fun. And do go to youngwritersproject.org on Tuesday, and we'll have it there. And I want to just do one final thing, which is to say, all of this is possible because the Young Writers Project is a nonprofit, and we rely on begging, okay? I am an unashamed beggar. And so if you feel, after seeing these incredible artists perform, that you want to continue our work, we have a wonderful clay jar back there to donate. Dig deep into your pocket of love. Sorry, Matthew, I had to do it. Apologies to your real line, but anyway, we really would appreciate your support. And also, we do have the new hot off the presses, and they were, when they arrived, they really were warm. It was so cool. But anyway, all these guys are in it. If your name is on it, you get it for free. One copy. And then all your family members and your grandparents can get like 20 for $10 a piece. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming and braving this unbelievable weather to come here.
Everyone, big hand for Jeff Cheval, director and founder of Young Writers Project. Thank you so much, Jeff.